I had planned for another video to come out today, but I scrapped that video. Why? Because the Suns just fired Mike Budenholzer. Why did the Phoenix Suns just fire their coach, Mike Budenholzer? Let's talk about it. What's going on, guys? CTG Matt back. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you're new. We can get in depth and talk about it now. The Phoenix Suns just fired Mike Budenholzer, as I keep saying, and to me, this move makes sense, but doesn't at the same time. This is now the third consecutive offseason where the Phoenix Suns have decided to move off of their head coach and to bring in a new one. I don't think any coach in the NBA can fix the scenario that the Phoenix Suns have themselves in. The Suns have themselves in a pigeonhole that is unique to them and that I haven't seen in a long time. Their future, absolutely torched. How'd they do that? They sent a bunch of first-round picks for Kevin Durant. They sent a bunch of first-round picks for Bradley Beal. They sent a bunch of picks for Jusuf Nurkic. They've thrown picks at all of their issues, and it has them in this scenario where they've basically buried themselves alive. This isn't a lesson about, oh, you need the right coach to make it work. This is a lesson on roster construction and that you need leverage to make trades. You can't rush things. These are all the things, the sins that Matt Ishbia, the Suns owner, commit the moment he walked in that door. As a new owner, I understand wanting to make a splash or wanting to make a big move and get your team into the championship window and be a contender again. Completely understand that. However, Matt Ishbia has thrown caution to the wind to make his dream team work. There was reason to believe that the Suns could be good this season coming in. I understood it, and I kind of thought that they could make a playoff spot. But the reason that they underwhelmed was the same reason that they underwhelmed last season. They're a mid to good offensive team with a really bad defense that is basically optional. Last season, one of their big cruxes, or whatever you want to call it, one of their big downfalls last season was their inability to really playmake. They didn't have a playmaker. They brought in Tyus Jones. They brought in Monty Morris. I said to myself, hey, those are pretty good ads. Really didn't help at all, actually, to be honest with you. Phoenix Suns assist numbers, pretty similar to last year. And on top of that, bringing in a Tyus Jones and a Monte Morris, two smaller guards, definitely did not help their defense either, which was already bad enough because, well, their defensive anchor to start the season was Jusuf Nurkic. As I like to call him, useless Nurkic. He provides exactly nothing on an NBA floor. That's not really an opinion, that's kind of a fact. If you watch Jusuf Nurkic, you know, ever since he had those lower half injuries, he can't do it anymore. So maybe the issue is Jusuf Nurkic. What do we do about that? The same thing Matt Ishbia has done and James Jones. He gets fault in this as well. James Jones does get fault in this. They throw picks at their issues. What do? They go try and land a Nick Richards. Jusuf Nurkic's contract is so bad they had to attach a pick just to get Nick Richards, who comes onto the team and is not good either. Honestly, who'd have thought Nick Richards would be the savior for this team? I don't think anybody did. Who'd have thought that the savior of this team, and the only reason they had a play-in chance, was because they had Mason Plumlee. That was their savior. They were relying on Mason Plumlee to be their center on a team that has a horrible interior defense for the second half of the season. Mason Plumlee. The guy shoots left-handed free throws, and he's right-handed, for Christ's sake. They pay Grayson Allen. He has a pretty disappointing year, in my opinion. Wasn't anything special. Bradley Beal misses about 30 games. Kevin Durant misses about 20 games. The most durable guy on the roster is Tyus freaking Jones. He's not going to win you games. Down the stretch of the season, this Suns team was relying on Colin Gillespie and Oso Ighodaro to be key contributors. Not really fair to them, considering those guys were never supposed to be in the picture, right? Bol at one point was viewed as the savior of the season. Bol. This team is just not good through and through. Why? Redundant skill sets is damn near a big reason why. Redundant skill sets. Kevin Durant works the mid-range. He's top 10 in mid-range. Mid-range makes like every season of his career. That's who Kevin Durant is. Devin Booker, top 10 in mid-range makes as well. Bradley Beal, he's in the top 50, but he missed 30 games. If he plays those 30 games, Bradley Beal's probably in the top 15 to 20 of mid-range shooting. 3 All-Stars, and they all do the same thing. They don't put pressure on the rim. Kevin Durant's older now. You can't expect him to go to the rim with the same athleticism and force that he did when he was 28. You can't put that on him. Devin Booker's never been a big rim pressures type of guy. He's a mid-range operator. We all know this. Same with Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal was considered their rim pressure guy, and even then when he's missing half the season consistently, Where's the rim pressure going to come from after him? And then I keep mentioning the defense, man. They were relying on Ryan Dunn to be the glue of that defense. A rookie, a back of the first round rookie. He might have been a second round pick. Either way, they were relying on a rookie to be their savior on the defensive end. They needed Ryan Dunn badly. The issue with Ryan Dunn is that he, wasn't really making his threes either. But again, I can't put the blame on Ryan Dunn considering why are you relying on a rookie to be the anchor of your defense? You have 3 players who are great players individually, but they can't defend. Kevin Durant is a good secondary defender. Like, he can protect the rim pretty well, but the issue is he's a secondary rim protector. Who's the primary one? There isn't one. Devin Booker isn't the best defender. He's a 6'4" 2 guard who's not the biggest. He defends guards well, but if a forward gets onto him, I don't think they want that matchup. Bradley Beal is just not a good defender outright. Small for his position. Not very big at all. He's going to struggle. They started out the season well, mainly because their role players were hitting shots. Guys like Royce O'Neal were on fire to start the season. That's not going to last all 82. And then on top of that, the injuries that were there as well. None of the roster construction of this team genuinely makes sense. None of it. And it's because they just didn't have leverage in any of the negotiations they did, and they had to rush these trades and force it and add picks when they didn't need to. Let me be honest when I say this. There's no reason you have to attach a first-round pick to get Nick Richards. That's all they got, because Cody Martin didn't really play for them either. Really, they gave a first-round pick for Nick Richards. We thought they were going to get Jimmy Butler. They were in on the Jimmy Butler sweepstakes. They didn't get Jimmy Butler. Now look what Jimmy Butler's doing in Golden State. They've become one of the better teams in basketball since he's arrived, simply because he's one of the best players in basketball, but also because he adds that X factor, that little bit of dog in him. I know that's not game-breaking analysis, but Jimmy Butler is just one of those guys that will fight to the end. Meanwhile, this Phoenix Suns team looked defeated at about game 50, 55. They looked absolutely defeated. This team isn't very athletic either. Devin Booker's not the highest jumper out there. He's got a decently quick first step, but he's not the fastest guy in the league. He doesn't jump the highest. Kevin Durant don't jump the highest. He's just kind of tall. And then Bradley Beal has never been a very athletic type of guy. He's a guy who makes his money shooting jumpers. And last season, a lot of the blame went to Frank Vogel, which, again, I don't think was very fair. The roster construction has been consistently terrible for the last few years, and they just keep pinning it on the different coaches. This season, Mike Budenholzer got put in an impossible to win task. Make the playoffs with this Phoenix Suns team. It was an improbable and impossible task, and he's getting fired because he didn't accomplish it. What's next for this team? I genuinely don't know, because like I said, I don't know if there's a team with a worse future on the horizon than the Phoenix Suns. I mean, even the pick they gave up to get Yusuf Nurkic, who they ended up having to give up a pick to get rid of, ended up becoming Toumani Camara. Guess who could have used a 6'7" lengthy defender who takes a bunch of charges and is one of the best defensive players in the league? I don't know. The Phoenix Suns could have used him. Instead, they gave him away for Yusuf Nurkic. Last season, I remember there was a portion of the season where Frank Vogel was ripping into the team, basically like clowning their defensive effort and telling them how they need to just be better on that side of the ball, and the players didn't take him seriously at all. Like, they laughed. I'm pretty sure Shams reported. That's absolutely obscene, ridiculous. That player did not deserve to be on the team after that. So then you bring in Mike Budenholzer, and he tells Devin Booker to shut up, basically, which I don't know. I don't know. This is such a weird situation because I'm not sure who's going to be traded and who's not in the future. I pray to God on everything that's holy. If you're a Suns fan, you better pray for this too, that they do not double down on this team. You can't do it. Bradley Beal is immovable. He is the immovable object. He has a no-trade clause. He doesn't want to go really anywhere. He seems happy in Phoenix. People of Phoenix don't really love him. I'm curious if the pressure from the people of Phoenix hating on him may force him out, but I don't know. I don't think he really cares. Devin Booker and Kevin Durant are assets you could move and try and get some pick equity, but even then it becomes who's going to trade for these guys? Orlando is floating around for Devin Booker. I'm not sure I like that one, and I saw the Pistons were out there for Devin Booker. I definitely don't like that one. I'd much rather have Booker maybe with the Magic. I still don't like it either way. Redundant skill sets again. You're working with Paolo and Franz, two guys who work the mid-range very well. So I think the issue with a Devin Booker type is that his skill set is very limited. His impact is based on how well he's scoring the basketball. Yes, he is a combo guard that can pass, but Devin Booker's impact is best when he's a scorer. Because when he's passing, well, the basketball is not in his hands. He's not a very good defender. So sure, he can get his 10 assists, but if he's got 15 points, his impact has been limited. First, it was Monty Williams, then it was Frank Vogel, now it's Mike Budenholzer. 3 coaches who got put in impossible tasks and asked to do the most with a roster that had nothing behind it. And it's hard to be optimistic for the Suns as well because, again, who's their next coach going to be? We have to figure that one out. That's the first issue. Secondly, is James Jones ever going to lose his job for being, well, actually just pretty bad at it? They've built some absolutely atrocious rosters, top to bottom, these last few years. He's the general manager. I know Ishbia is probably pulling a bunch of strings behind the scenes, but there's no way I can keep rolling James Jones out there every year as the GM and saying we trust in him 100%. As for Kevin Durant, everybody already knows, my next chapter is coming up, and I don't know where he's going to go. What's that going to look like? Is he a Houston Rocket type? Maybe, but all the way around, they just need to get some pick equity back, for Christ's sake. They have nothing in terms of picks for the next few years. There's protections on every pick they own. They own their own first round pick in 2026, I believe, but it has like 8 different protections on it. It'll probably convey to another team. So yeah, I haven't seen a team trapped like this in quite some time. No picks. Bradley Beal is untradeable, immovable, any of the above. Devin Booker is probably at his lowest value mark because, like I said, his impact this year seemed way less than I've ever seen in his career. I wasn't noticing Devin Booker as often as I was in years prior, and maybe that's because he was trapped in this role where he had to be an assist guy, a playmaker, but I just didn't feel his impact at all this year. And Kevin Durant's 30 plus years old, and I don't think any team's looking at Kevin Durant as a 1A anymore. Nobody's thinking Kevin Durant can lead their team anymore. I hope there isn't a team thinking Kevin Durant can be your best player on a championship squad. Not in this timeline. Not anymore. So he needs to go to a place where he can be better suited as a second option. I guess that's up to him, really. But I don't know what the Phoenix Suns are going to do here. They're kind of just trapped. There's no way that you can identify and fix a problem with picks by just throwing picks at it all the time. It works sometimes, but not all the time. And with this Phoenix Suns team, it appears that they never really could identify the problem, even though I think everyone from the outside looking in knew what the problem was. Redundant skill sets and no defense. They didn't play a lick of defense. They were 27th in defensive rating this season. 27th. They took a lot of three-pointers because that's a Budenholzer system, and they don't get to the rim very often. That's okay if you're a Boston Celtics type team, an elite shooting team, but the Phoenix Suns are not an elite shooting team. They have too many non-shooters on the team. Nick Richards, Ryan Dunn, Oso Ighodaro, guys like Josh Okogie were there. You're relying on him to hit threes. They don't have reliable three-point shooters or good enough three-point shooters to rely on a three-point barrage, and especially the lack of a paint presence. Centers were eating them alive this season. Zubac had a big game against them. Jokic had maybe his best game of the season against them. Actually, that 60-point triple-double was his best game of the season, but that went to overtime. Guys just have their best games consistently at the center spot against this Phoenix Suns team. I think we can all out from the outside looking and identify the problem, but it seems that Matt Ishbia and James Jones still can't somehow. And I hope that this isn't just them going, all right, we fired Bud, new coach, run it back. Please don't do that. Please don't. Trade everything. Go into somehow try to get into a rebuild. If they can trade Devin Booker, I think Kenny talked about this on his podcast the other day, King of the Fourth Quarter, whatever you want to call him. He talked about on his podcast, there was a trade that somebody had mentioned to him that was like Ivy and Ron Holland and some picks for Devin Booker. If I'm the Phoenix Suns, you have to jump on that. You have to at this point. They've rushed so many bad trades at this point that you have to, you still got to keep that mentality with trading these stars, man. You can't be hesitant and you can't ask for too much because, well, trading and negotiating is all about leverage. And the Phoenix Suns have none. They haven't had any in a while either. That's why teams were able to get a first-round pick out of them for you to take on Jusuf Nurkic, because they're rushed. No leverage. And for if there's a new owner watching this video, a new NBA team owner, yeah, dude, there's a freaking billionaire watching my YouTube channel. Yeah, for sure. But it's a lesson to all of them to not rush it and to probably listen to the people who know basketball more than you. No offense to Matt Ishbia. I'm sure he pays attention to basketball, but you need guys that are smarter in the front office because I'm sure they wouldn't have advised him to trade for a Bradley Beal to begin with. I'm sure they definitely would not have advised for a Yusuf Nurkic trade, but that's the thing with this Phoenix Suns team. They would rather not look at it from a third-person perspective. They just want to keep dumping picks and throwing picks at it and praying to God that it works this time. It's not going to work. They need to start over. They need to start fresh. I don't know where that begins, but it needs to be this offseason, in my opinion. You better get to work on fixing this roster, getting some pick equity back, and just clearing this whole thing down. They need to drop a petard on this roster, blow it up, get this thing reset back to nothing. You need rubble. You need rubble, honestly. They're at the point where blowing up the whole building would probably be their best option and just starting at zero. Get anything you can back and just start at zero. I feel bad for Suns fans because they're in hell. I mean, that's what basketball hell is. Some fans of some teams probably think that they may have it worse than Suns fans, like Pelicans fans may. New Orleans Pelicans fans may think that they have it worse than Suns fans. It's pretty close. Don't get me wrong, but at least you still have some pick equity. I know you gave one to Atlanta for DeJounte, I believe, but at least you still have some down in the future years. The Suns have nothing in the near future. They have nothing in the far-away future, it seems. They don't have any young players that are of value except for, like, Ryan Dunn. And they definitely don't have a team that can be a contender. That's it. If you've enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe. Tomorrow I am dropping my NBA playoff predictions, so be aware and around for that. You won't want to miss it. If you enjoyed this video, like I said, do all those wonderful things. I'm going to go catch the game. I'll see you guys in the next one.